this is for multi-passionates. If you're someone with a lot of interests, a lot of curiosity, you like a lot of variety in your life, and you have a hard time kind of going, well, I bounce around from thing to thing to thing, and I just love experiencing new things, then this video is for you, because I found an article that kind of actually upset me. And so I want to talk about it, and I would like to encourage you and empower you if you are someone who considers yourself within that multi-passionate realm. So let's rock it. Okay, so it's funny having these conversations with many of you, by the way, and realizing that many of you are what we're calling multi-passionate. And it's kind of funny. It's a relatively newer term that has kind of become popular within the last few years. And many times I'll talk to people and they're just kind of like, oh, I've never even, thought of that, or didn't realize I was a quote multi-passionate. It's just kind of like, oh, I just have a lot of interest, So it's not something that's a very commonly used term, but I've been doing some fascinating research on it just to kind of find out, what is it? What are people defining it as? And there's actually a lot of good newer material out on it, which I appreciate. And then there's some really bad material out on there. And I just wanted to point out this article that I thought was funny. The title of the article is You're Not Multi-Passionate, You Just Have a Procrastination Problem. And I was like, what? So I'm like,
that sounds like an editorial, but go ahead.
Oh, it's in Entrepreneur magazine, which is a very famous one. But so I thought, okay, I'm not going to mention this author's name or anything like that, but she's basically saying that, okay, it's an excuse that keeps you from fully committing and moving forward. And I thought,
interesting.
Okay, I'll bite. Let me read this. And so it's in a world where there's so many different passions to choose from. How could you possibly just choose one? So here's a little tough love that you might have never thought about. Saying you're multi-passionate is really just a procrastination excuse. It's an excuse that keeps you from fully committing and moving forward. Then she talks about, are you a squirrel? And blah, 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 blah. And so take a piece of the pie and then commit to it. You just can't decide. You're indecisive. You just won't, whatever, right? That's essentially what's going on.
And that's her opinion, and she's welcome to it.
And she's 100% wrong too, by the way. And it's not even just an opinion. Like, she is wrong about that. But here's the thing. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. If there is, because people like this exist, if there's somebody out there that is indecisive, and maybe they do have a lot of interests, but they're just kind of like, I don't know which one I should pick, and I don't really know what I should do, and maybe they are indecisive and they don't finish things. Now, here's the thing: I've known a lot of multi-passionate people throughout my life, and there is a weakness for multi-passionates, and that is not following through and seeing something to the end. Okay. Now, sometimes you don't need to, and so why? Why do if you're reading a book that you don't like, or you're watching a TV show or a movie that you don't like, then don't finish it. Like, who cares, right? Or, it's the same kind of thing. Like, well, I'm doing a hobby, but I don't care about it anymore. Well, then don't, move on. That's fine. But if you're,
and then maybe you'll come back to it later.
Yeah. Or maybe not, but if you're doing something for someone, or you're committed to something, you've committed, like, okay, well, I'll do this for you. And then you bail on them because you just don't quote feel like it anymore. That's immature. That's disrespectful. Right. So there's a level of what I call multi-passionate maturity that needs to happen one way or the other. And there is something to be said about being perseverant and, finishing. So that's a good
even as
trait.
A multi-passionate. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. That's a great trait. And so and also being decisive is very, very important too. So if you are indecisive, it's a weakness. It's not something that is a good trait. That's something that you should learn how to overcome and, get better at and that kind of thing, or find some strategies that help you to make decisions faster. Because, being indecisive is also incredibly stressful if you think about it. Because I've had my times in my life too where I've been indecisive, and it's just like, it's agonizing after a while.
Because you're in your head, it's just gobs and gobs of variables, right? Do I do this or do this and that? If you're decisive, it's just, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that.
And there's no movement forward. There's just kind of back and forth all the time. And it just, you're spinning your wheels. It's very frustrating.
Right.
And sometimes you're stuck in a place because you don't know the best answer. And so then you go, well, do you just take a leap of faith and see what happens? Or do you need to, do a little more research? And I think that there's both, so
right.
To her point, there are people, again, who are indecisive. There are people who are unwilling to choose something because they just don't want to get started. They're lazy, or they do truly procrastinate because they're scared to get started or whatever it is. So there is that.
Right.
So that's to be fair to this author's point. And yes, those are things that should be overcome, because sometimes just starting is a great thing. And I'm 100% on board with that. And sometimes, you know, like I look back in my life and I say, there are times where I literally just said, I'm just going to do it. Literally. I don't know. I don't need to do the research. I'm like, well, how are you going to do it? You know, I don't know. I don't care. Let's just go for it and let's see what happens. It's not like it's going to be that big of a deal if it doesn't work out, right?
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
And
usually.
I would say that 90+% of the time, every single one of those situations turned out to be a good thing, even if it didn't necessarily work perfectly, because I learned from it. And I learned what not to do next time and what to do better. So it was a wonderful thing. And why not? You know, you just go have a good time and enjoy it. You know, here's the other thing, dude.
So what this author's doing is that they're putting all multi-passionates in this box, which people tend to do. Yeah. It's an instinct. We all do it. We all do it to a certain degree. And the people just don't fit in that box. It's not all multi-passionates are lazy or procrastinative. I mean, they just aren't. So to your point, I'm just summarizing.
Very true.
Sorry.
No, that's very true. And so I would like to this author say that, you know, if you really truly are someone with a lot of interests and talents, you know, this is the other thing I've heard too, is that multi-passionates are jack of all trades, or what do they call it? Jill. So jack or Jills of all trades, right. I think is what it is. Anyway, and masters of none, which, by the way, if you're a true multi-passionate, that's also not true, because true multi-passionates are able to learn things quickly and master things quickly if they want to. It's a bizarre talent. It's a wonderful gift. You know, I've been told this too. It's like, well, you're really good at that. You're really good at that. You're really good at that. I'm like, because somehow I'm able to learn quickly. And it's because I'm so interested in it at that time that I devour it fast and I learn fast and I'm like into it and I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to get as good as I can at it until I don't need it or want to worry about it anymore. It just kind of depends. You know, like when I built my computer, my gaming computer, I devoured everything I could. I learned all about it. I found the best prices on things and I built it, and I thankfully was able to do it in one try. Everything worked out well and it's been a great computer. Yeah. And that was it. I haven't consumed anything about building computers or computer components since. I just don't care about it anymore. It's like when I need to build it again or move on or upgrade, I'll do it again, you know? So but that's the thing, is that I think there is a beautiful superpower if you are a multi-passionate. And I'm saying this because many of you listening to the show, watching the show, are multi-passionate. And I am tired of the world saying that it's a weakness, or it's you're a lazy procrastinator, or, you know, you just need to pick something and grow up and suck it up. Like, that's BS. It's full on BS. And so, you know, if you do have those weaknesses of procrastination, laziness, indecisive, et cetera, indecision, that is, then, you know, by all means work on those things. But if you're a true multi-passionate, then it's a superpower. It's a gift. I'm empowering you to take it and run with it and go for it. So I just wanted to throw that out because I did not expect to read an article that was so disrespectful and
derisive
wrong.
Of multi-passionates. Yeah,
but just flat out wrong too. So I wanted to point that one out. So anyway, there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. Are you a multi-passionate? Yes or no? Respond in the comments. Let us know if you're a multi-passionate. Let us know if this is something you've ever struggled with, or, you know, if people have said, well, you're kind of flaky or you don't finish things or whatever. I'm curious. I'd honestly like to know how many multi-passionates exist. I feel like there's only a few of us, but I might be surprised. There might be a lot more than we think. So let me know in the comments below. Please, love to hear from you. But I hope this was helpful. I hope it encouraged you. I hope you are empowered if you are someone who considers yourself within that multi-passionate realm. Subscribe, please. Love to have you here. This is a channel for multi-passionates. I mean, honestly, we talk about a lot of things. We're very curious. We have a lot of variety in our lives, and so we love to share this with you. We nerd out on so many things, movies and TV shows. We nerd out on things like multi-passionate stuff. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a performer and entertainer. I do all kinds of different things. So we'd love to have you here and hanging out with us. And of course, on Fridays, we release The Real Brian Show, actual variety show. We release that, and so that's what it is. But we have a lot coming. So thank you for joining us. Have a positively smashing day. Talk to you soon.